Hello and welcome to another lecture of the course Aquaculture. Today we are going to discuss about composite fish farming with a special reference to Indian major carps. Composite fish farming is a technology that is used to culture more than one type of species which are compatible and non-competing. So more than one species are being cultured together, but their criteria of their selection is that they should be compatible and non-competing. This is done in order to utilize the resources which are available in the pond efficiently to almost full utilization of these resources in order to get better result. And this is the most popular culture technique in our country, and this composite fish farming is also called as polyculture. Composite fish farming in pond system consists of that we have discussed many of these things. We have discussed while discussing extensive culture system, semi-intensive culture system, and intensive culture system. Here I have tried to keep everything at one place and discuss in terms of polyculture, how polyculture is being carried out. So we can go for Indian major carps only, Katla, Levirohita, and Serenus myrgala, or we can go for exotic carps only, or culturing both exotic carps and Indian major carps together. These are the factors affecting species selection. That what should be the criteria of species selection in polyculture that we should take care. Water temperature. We know that how water temperature influences and what kind of species are suitable in the water temperature which is available, which is prevailing in your pond or aquatic system where you are intending to culture. So accordingly you should select the fish. For example, if we are going to do some kind of aquaculture in Delhi or at Aligarh or some place nearby, then we will never go for culturing trout, which is a cold water fish. We will look for warm water fishes, which are like Indian major carps. Market value of fish, whatever fish we are going to cultivate, whichever species, that should have good market value. Otherwise, there will be no economic viability of your produce. Pond fertilization practices. If you are going for semi-intensive aquaculture, then pond fertilization is also very necessary step for producing the natural food. So whether it can be done, whether it will be producing the enough live food which will be required by the fish. Feeding habits of fish. The feeding habits of fish, whether that suits your aquatic system. Say for example, if you are having certain kind of live foods already available in your pond, and or you can say they tend to show bloom, plankton bloom, some kind of plankton bloom in your pond in specific seasons, whether you are culturing that fish which can consume these plankton, or they may not be palatable to those, or the fishes may not like these conditions, or the feeding habits, like if you are having very rich detritus in your pond, then of course you will go for bottom feeders which show good growth rate. Common carp, Serenus myrgala, you can use these fishes. So accordingly, what is the feeding habit of fish and what are the resources available in your pond? They may vary. Resources may also show variation according to season or year. So accordingly, you will have to select. Tolerance to pond conditions. Whatever fish species, candidate species you are selecting for fish culture, they should show tolerance to the existing conditions, what ambient conditions are there in your pond or nearby regions. For example, if there are temperature fluctuations, say during winters, we have very harsh temperature conditions. Air temperature often goes here 1 degree or 2 degree centigrade. So water temperature will be around 10 degree or maybe less than that. So surface water temperature. So fishes should be hardy enough to tolerate these conditions, or variation in any other water quality parameter. They should also be hardy. They should not be very sensitive. Fish seed availability. Whatever candidate species you are going to cultivate, whether the seed of that fish will be available to you for culture at the time when you will be needing that fish for stocking, and in the desired number, the pure quality of the seed, the species you are looking for, you are going to get that species only. All these aspects should be taken into account before selecting that fish species for culture. So you can revise your species selection, or the type of species you are going to culture according to the previous points. So Indian major carps, that you all must have seen these fishes. They are very popular and they are being cultured in India very popularly. These are exotic carps: Ctenophryngota nadella, Cyprinus carpio, Hypophthalmictis mollitrix. They are also very popular. They are being cultivated. They grow very fast. Feeding habits and feeding zones of fish species cultured in composite fish culture. I'm not giving much details of these. Many of these things I have already talked, so I'm just putting every information in a very crisp manner so that you can understand what aquaculture, polyculture practice or a composite fish culture practice is. Katla katla is a zooplankton feeder, and it feeds on surface. Rohu or Leburoita is omnivorous and feeds in the column. Mirgal is Detritivorous, Sirenus mirgala, and it feeds on bottom. Among exotic carps, silver carp, a phytoplankton feeder, feeds on surface. Herbivorous grass carp, the Ctenophryngota nadella, this feeds surface, column, and marginal areas. This can feed on these areas. Common carp, Detritivorous and omnivorous, it feeds on bottom. So, if we are knowing the feeding habit and the feeding zones, the feeding behavior of the fish, then of course our selection of the species will be optimal, and that will going to make the aquaculture practice profitable. In composite fish culture, on the basis of growth performance of different species, modifications are made in stocking density, species ratio, fertilization, and supplementary feeding programs to improve the production. In fact, all the factors which are influencing the polyculture practice in order to get good growth rate, good biomass production, and where we have not to put in much cost on supplementary feeding, we can act accordingly and get good growth rate. The Indian major carps uh, and two exotic carps, three Indian major carps, Katla katla, Leburoita, Sirenus mirgala, and two exotic carps, Hypophthalmictis mollitrix and Ctenophryngota nadella. They have been tried and tested by many farmers, fish farmers in the country, and these have quite often, provided very good performance and very good biomass production. Quite profitable venture if you go for 5 species culture using these carps. Planktophagous, herbivorous, fast-growing, non-predatory species of fish are generally preferred. This is regarding the feeding habit for composite fish culture in freshwater ponds. We should avoid predatory fishes, especially in polyculture. Polyculture, you cannot have predatory fishes, and these fishes which we have just talked, they efficiently convert organic matter into fish flesh and consequently give high yields. So our focus should be we should select planktophagous, herbivorous, fast growing, and non-predatory species. And if you remember the previous slide, there we have shown that these 5 fishes that we have just talked here, they fulfill this criteria. Fish species involved in composite fish culture for yielding best production: fish through composite fish farming. Production of fish through composite fish farming. Experiments have been performed. Culture of Indian major carps alone, or Indian major carps along with exotic carps. Now, when we are doing polyculture or any culture practice, then I have told you that managing the culture system is the most important point. Managing means you have to take care of the water quality. You will have to first have good pond constructed, then prepare that pond and take care of the water quality. Take care of selecting good candidate fish species suitable for your region. Then go for feed management and water quality management and so on. So here, construction of new pond, reclamation of old pond, whatever is the case at your place, removal of predatory and weed fishes, application of quicklime, application of fertilizers and manures, water quality management in composite fish culture pond. stocking of fish fry in the pond, application of supplementary food, and harvesting. Construction and reclamation of new pond or reclamation of old pond. Many of these aspects I have already discussed with you, but what is the main crux of this? That we should go for not very small ponds. Try to get a pond of, I should say, on an average of 1 hectare water area is there, then that is very suitable. So that shows very good growth rate, especially with carps. So that you may get variations in sizes and shapes from different places. But if you remember, I told you that rectangular ponds and these moderate size ponds, like about 1 hectare water area, they are considered very good. The bottom soil of an ideal pond should be loamy to clay loamy, that we have again discussed. And the main idea is that it should not show water leaching and other things. That should be water retention. And the kind of soil there, if we are going for semi-intensive aquaculture, that should have nutrients and that should have the ability to help the into the primary productivity of the pond. Ideally, the pond should have well-built high dikes all around to protect. This again we have explained earlier, but here the idea is to get protect our pond from not only flooding, not only from the fishes we are having escaping from that pond, but also it should restrict the entry of any other undesirable, whether it is fish species or any other animals, or maybe sometimes algae and other undesirable elements are there. They should not be allowed to enter into the pond. So you should have proper protection of your pond area. That is how one photograph has been shown, that how these ponds look like. Removal of predatory and weed fishes. So while preparing pond, we should take care of that we do not have any predatory or weed fishes. There should not be any predatory. Predatory means those fishes which can feed upon whatever the desirable fishes you are stocking. Suppose you are stocking Indian major carp seeds and you are already having Velaguatu, which is a predatory fish, and that fish will not leave any of your IMC seeds, IMC fry or fingerlings. That will eat all of them. So you should not have predatory fishes in your pond, and weed fishes, the small fishes. Although they are very small, you may consider that they are not going to harm our desirable fish species, but they are going to harm. They are occupying some space. They are having some kind of food, and many of them, they breed in the confined environment, on their own. So their population is going to increase. You may not have an idea what is the stocking density of those fishes. So they may be maybe they're in very large numbers. So you need to take care of them. There are many biological agents also to control that. You can refer to my earlier lecture also. Here also it is written that what are different kind of biological agents that can be used for control. Application of quicklime. This is because we need slightly alkaline conditions for the fish to grow, to show good growth rate. So lime, what it does, lime neutralizes soil acidity that is undesirable and creates a buffer system to prevent marked diurnal fluctuations of water from acidic to alkaline conditions. Destroys fish pathogens and their intermediate life stages. Cysts and all, you can see they may be present. Converts unsuitable acidic condition of water to suitable alkaline condition, which is the requirement of fish culture pond. Neutralizes iron compounds which are undesirable in fish ponds. Promotes mineralization of soil, which is desirable in fish ponds. Mineralization is very necessary, especially if you are going for supplementary feeding only in case of semi-intensive aquaculture. So if mineralization process is there, if it is promoted by quicklime addition, then it is going to have positive impact on primary productivity. Settle excess dissolved organic matter and thereby reduces the incidence of oxygen depletion. Organic load, whenever you are providing food from outside, there are risk of getting more and more organic load, acts as disinfectant and improve hygienic conditions of the pond. So that is one of the very important procedures while preparing pond in semi-intensive aquaculture. You can empty your pond and then apply quicklime, or if needed, you can even apply within the water. Lime doses at different pH levels. This, if depends on the characteristic of your soil. That if the soil is highly acidic or medium acidic or slight acidic or near neutral, accordingly you can apply the dose of lime. The dose of lime varies with pH. That what pH soil you are having. So accordingly, we'll have to decide the dosage. Application of fertilizers and manures. Since here we are discussing mainly the polyculture of Indian major carps under semi-intensive aquaculture. We are discussing mainly under semi-intensive aquaculture. So we are going to have good primary productivity or good plankton productivity in our pond, natural food productivity in our pond. For that, we need to supply fertilizers and manures in order to supply enough nutrients for primary production. So that way we'll have to take care of the fertilizers and organic manures and cow dung or as a manure, and there are many inorganic fertilizers that we use like single superphosphate, triple superphosphate, ammonium sulfate, urea, etc. All this you can use accordingly. You will have to go through that what is the need, what is the requirement of your own pond. Talk to some experts, talk to some fisheries officials in your area, and accordingly you decide that how much of what fertilizer or organic manure is needed. Please do not use these components, especially the fertilizers, in excess. Amount of fertilizers required for ponds at high, medium and low levels of productivity. So depending on what is the productivity of your pond, these are the doses which are given, like cattle dung for organic carbon. Then for nitrogen, nitrogen requirement is this, and then urea, and then phosphate, what is the requirement, and then how you can get this requirement come fulfilled by applying triple superphosphate. So these are the doses. If there is high productivity, then how much you need to add. If there is medium productivity, then how much you need to add. If there is low productivity, then how much you need to add. So accordingly you can choose. This is just a photograph showing these fertilizers and manure. Water quality management in composite fish culture pond. I told you that when we are going for culture practice, whether semi-intensive or intensive, the management part, water quality management part is again very important, and this is needed in order to get your production to desirable quantity. These are physicochemical parameters that we expect in composite fish culture pond. Temperature, how much temperature variation may be there. In some cases, we get to see that in carp polyculture, in certain months of the year, the temperature goes, surface temperature of water goes 37 or more than 37. Transparency, pH, slightly towards alkaline side, I told you. Dissolved oxygen 6 to 9 ppm. Different range have been given by different authors, different researchers, but I should say here that in case of dissolved oxygen, the oxygen, you should try that oxygen does not go below 5 ppm. Up to 5, it may be okay, but not below 5 ppm. If you're maintaining it 5 to 7 ppm without putting in any effort or extra input cost, you are getting putting in order to ensure dissolved oxygen, then 5 to 7 ppm is okay. But if you are getting 6 to 9 ppm, it's quite better. Free carbon dioxide, total alkalinity, phosphate, phosphorus and nitrate, nitrogen. Stocking of fish fry in the pond. Rate of stocking generally depends on biological productivity of a pond. And again, we are talking of semi-intensive aquaculture. Here we are discussing polyculture or composite fish farming. So it depends on how much we are going to spend on supplementary feeding. So accordingly, the stocking density of the pond will be decided, and that depends on what is the total natural food productivity of our pond. Based on that, we will be knowing that what are the number of fish for which food is already available in the pond. So what are the number of fish for which we are going to provide food from outside. So accordingly we can decide that what should be the stocking density, so that it does not affect your economic viability of your culture practice. Stocking, usually here it is written that if your water body is having 2 to 3 meter of depth, and then you can go for 5,000 fingerlings per hectare, but you can stock even more. Again, depending on the situation, you can study your aquatic body, water, pond, and you can take appropriate measure of or decision on how much fish to be stocked. It is advisable to stock the ponds with large fingerlings. If you are stocking large fingerlings, if you do not get supply directly from nursery pond, if you first rear them in rearing pond and then get it to stocking pond, then survival rate will be very good and growth rate will also be very good. They will their survival will not be adversely affected. And if you are stocking large size fish, then you will also be sure about the number of fishes which are being stocked in your pond. At very young stages, you don't know how much of them have died. So that way, it is quite better to stock fingerlings. The other advantage of using smaller size is the uh, cheaper price, 5 to 8 centimeter. In fact, when you stock fishes of smaller size, why people do that? Because you get that at cheaper price. You can adjust the size, or you can select it. It's not any rule of thumb that you have to follow this. No, you can standardize the conditions according to your own region, your own economic status, or the money you want to spend in, or the if you can have the facility to get rearing of these smaller fishes efficiently, then you can go for them also. Percentage of different carp species in composite fish culture. If we are going for 4 species combination, then Katla, Rohu, Mirgal, common carp, this composition is given. If we are going for 5 species combination, along with these 4 species, if you get one more finger lipped carp, then this is the composition which is given. And 6 species combination, when along with this you also add silver carp and grass carp, you don't have fringe lipped carp, then you can have this composition. And when we are having 8 species combination, we are having all of them: katla, rohu, mirgal, common carp, silver carp, grass carp, fringe lipped carp, milkfish. Then this 8 species combination you can also go. Again, here milkfish is given. Milkfish you cannot culture everywhere, that you will have to take care. That here, why milkfish is given? Because that may be the condition of the regions where there is moderate salinity. You will have to check whether milkfish will be suitable in your region or not, or combination with these fishes will be suitable or not. Usually, we should avoid having any such fish which require bit different conditions. For example, milkfish is there, it needs brackish water for its optimal growth, and all of the above are freshwater fishes. So keeping brackish water fish with fresh water is not a very good idea. So, but you can decide according to your own requirements. Application of supplementary food. So, whatever natural food can take care of the food requirement of the fishes that you have stocked. Accordingly, we'll have to calculate that how much supplementary food is required. And in my previous lecture, I have talked about how what should be the nutritional and feeding strategies in aquaculture. Accordingly, you can prepare by procuring the suitable feed ingredients, and you can prepare food at your farm also. If you will provide nutritionally balanced diet, then the fishes will grow. Traditionally, in polyculture practice in India, what people provide is basically rice bran and any of the oil cakes which is available. Rice bran or wheat bran or sometimes rice polish and any of the oil cakes, mustard oil cake, groundnut oil cake, whatever oil cake is available, they provide 1:1 ratio, traditional ratio, but that is not nutritionally balanced. But in supplementary feeding, in semi-intensive aquaculture, they are getting nutrients from live food also. So many a times, if you are maintaining a balance, then even providing 1:1 rice bran and oil cake, that is quite profitable. That shows very good aquaculture production, because other things they are getting from natural food. So it depends on situation again. Then a feeding rate of 2 to 3%. I told you that when fishes grow during the adult stage, or when they are approaching the adult stage, 2 to 3% of body weight is quite good. The ration size. This is given from some source from the internet. We just showed you here that oil cake and rice bran mixture, just for the sake of simplicity, so even a layman can understand that for a 5,000 fingerling per hectare stocking density, how we should go for feeding. First month, how much kg per day, second month, how much kg per day, third month, and like that. But I suggest you to please calculate your own requirement for your pond by taking the biomass, that what is the growth pattern they are showing, how much weight they have attained. Calculate accordingly and do not follow the schedule given by others, especially because this is dependent entirely on the growth pattern. Maybe here the growth was very good, you are not getting that much good growth, or you are getting even better growth than what has been taken into account for preparing this list or any other list. So always go for taking random samples of length and weight, and through that you can calculate that what should be the approximate total biomass of your pond of that particular fish species which you are going to feed upon, and then calculate 2 or 3% of body weight of its feed, and then go for feeding. Ultimate aim of fish culture is to grow to marketable size, of course, in short duration. Generally, a fish above 750 gram and above is considered of marketable size. But again, it depends on species to species. It can vary. But in case of IMCs, getting more than 500, 600 grams of fish, even people now sell 500, 600 gram of fish in the market. But if it is 1 kg or above, then that is, that has quite high market value. So, carps, in case of carps, we should take care that they get a growth of 1 kg or more, then you will get good profits. And if you are following all the management practices with regard to water quality management, feed management, and other things, then getting 800 gram to 1 kilogram in 1 year almost, or in one season, you can say of one complete crop duration is achievable, attainable. So that can be done. Here I have tried to show you just as an example. Again, it is not applicable to every aquaculture practice. No, it is not. But you can have an idea that how to calculate your economics. You can have these parameters listed for whole year. Go on writing that how much you have spent on what, and ultimately make this kind of table, and you will get to know that what is the profit that you have made. And I assure you that if you are able to do all wall management procedures properly, then it is a very profitable venture, polyculture or fish farming culture practice. So that's all in this. Thank you so much.